We're continuing our coverage of the deadly COVID-19 outbreak at the Holyoke Soldiers Home this past spring. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Western Mass News at 6 on this Tuesday. I'm Chris Pisano. Jordan is off tonight. For several hours today, families of veterans devastated by the virus testified before a legislative oversight committee wanting to make sure something like this never happens again. Western Mass News reporter Sarah Granelli joins us live from Holyoke with today's developments. Sarah.
Chris, it was a very sad day here at Holyoke Community College with many family members choking up, sharing their experience with COVID-19 at the Holyoke Soldiers Home. Emotions ran high Tuesday as family members of veterans at the Holyoke Soldiers Home shared their stories of loss, sickness, and uncertainty, testifying before a state legislative oversight committee on Tuesday. Cheryl Turgeon says in March her dad became very sick as COVID-19 spread through the home. Although he is still here today, she says it has taken a massive toll on him, leaving him wheelchair bound.
He was left in a bed for weeks and weeks and weeks until his toes turned black. And he had pressure ulcers. And they said they were going to cut off his left toe and his right foot. The surgeon said to me this shouldn't happen, but it did.
She told legislators the Holyoke Soldiers Home needed more hands on deck.
It was a direct result of staffing and not having enough staffing to take care of the veterans during this time.
Another man whose father was one of the 76 veterans who died from the coronavirus says the outbreak changed his life forever.
But the last memory that I have of my father is one that we've seen over and over again when they would liberate a concentration camp. You would see the survivors. My dad didn't look like a survivor. He looked like he had passed away already.
Western Mass News spoke with State Senator John Velas, one of the many legislators on the Oversight Committee.
Just emotional. I mean, to hear firsthand from the families the experience they had.
He says by next March, there will be a detailed recommendation to make sure our veterans don't go through something like this again.
We're going to take a look at some of what happened in the past, but really only to talk about ways that can help us go forward and prevent this from ever happening again. You know, what happened, it is a national tragedy.
Other families from the Holyoke Soldiers Home will testify again on Thursday, and then on Tuesday, staff members will testify. And then in March, that's when the legislature will release their findings. Live in Holyoke, I'm Sarah Granelli for Western Mass News.
Sarah, thank you for that live report. Developing news now out of Agawam tonight. State officials have determined spontaneous combustion caused the landfill at Bondi's Island to ignite back on Thursday of last week. According to the Agawam fire chief and state fire marshal, investigators believe that fire started in a large brush pile and was fueled by high winds, which caused it to spread quickly. There were no injuries related to the fire. Springfield Mayor Dominic Sarno and city officials meeting today with representatives from the operators of the landfill, Covanta, all to discuss the steps needed to make sure a fire like this never happens again and reimbursement on the costs incurred in responding to the incident. We have new information for you out of Springfield, where the victim of Monday's shooting on Acushnet Avenue has been identified. The Hampden County DA's office telling Western Mass News 24-year-old Jonathan Martinez succumbed to his gunshot wounds at Bay State Medical Center. Springfield police telling Western Mass News 2 arrests have been made in connection to Monday's homicide. 22-year-old Isaiah Marquez and a 16-year-old female are both facing numerous charges, including murder, assault, and armed carjacking. Both are now awaiting arraignment. Let's take a quick look at today's number of COVID-19 cases. The state reporting 821 confirmed cases tonight, bringing the statewide total to 142,295. And there were also 5 new deaths today, bringing the statewide death toll to 9,537. New at 6, concern in the Franklin County community of Greenfield as the number of COVID-19 cases are on the rise, and a gathering involving teens may be partially to blame. Western Mass News reporter Leon Purvis has more from Greenfield.
The city of Greenfield is now urging residents to be more cautious when it comes to coronavirus precautions, as the community currently is in the lowest risk color gray on the state's COVID-19 map, has recorded an increase in cases in recent days. And in a statement, the city's mayor says, "We are aware of a gathering of young adults in a neighboring town that may have contributed to this increase." Further details were not released on Tuesday, but one Greenfield resident tells Western Mass News she is not surprised about the potential super spreader event.
You know, like in general, like the thoughts about like the gathering, I'm not surprised because I feel like kids, especially like high school kids or college kids, like they've been dealing with the pandemic in ways that like I think a lot of us like don't really understand.
Jennifer Rizzo, who lives in Greenfield, has a message for young people who want to hang out with all their friends. Think about the safety of others.
People who are immune compromised, there are small businesses that are still getting impacted by like the larger, I think, response.
The city of Greenfield is asking folks to stay 6 feet away from people, wear a mask, and wash your hands to keep cases low.
There was a slight uptick, but our percentage still hasn't gone up that much. But I pay quite a bit of attention to it. Being an elderly person, you know, higher risks, it bothers me.
Greenfield resident Mary Serum says she is concerned about the rise in cases, but she understands kids just want to have fun.
You know, it's worrisome. I can understand it because I think that they get antsy. When you're younger, that need for socialization is so big, and it's so hard to explain how irresponsible it is sometimes.
In the meantime, the city is advising residents to wear masks, socially distance, and stay away from indoor gatherings. In Greenfield, Leon Purvis, Western Mass News.
Leon, thanks for that. Governor Charlie Baker addressing the state's noticeable rise in cases during his coronavirus briefing today. This comes as New York's Governor Andrew Cuomo is advising against non-essential travel across the Northeast, which is now seeing another spike in COVID-19 cases.
As many epidemiologists and public health experts predicted, we have seen an uptick in positive cases in Massachusetts, across the country, and in many parts of the world. While we continue to closely monitor new cases, including testing and tracing where the infections are most prevalent, our Commonwealth is in a strong position to keep fighting this virus.
The governor also taking time today to address the Politico report indicating he's being considered for a place in Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden's cabinet if Biden wins the election against President Trump in November.
Both the lieutenant governor and I said when we ran for re-election 2 years ago, seems like 100 years ago, that we were going to serve our terms, and I intend to do that. And you're going to be stuck with me for at least the next 2 years anyway. It's flattered to be considered, but I like the job I have.
New at 6, Massachusetts Attorney General Maura Healey's filing a lawsuit against the National Addiction Treatment Center chain with Western Mass ties. Healey is accusing Clean Slate, as well as the company's former owner, Dr. Amanda Wilson, of filing millions of dollars in false claims, as well as violating federal and state self-referral laws. Healey claims the company's business model was to illegally profit by cheating the state's Medicaid program. Clean Slate was based in Northampton before moving its headquarters to Tennessee. According to the state, the company has 19 locations in Massachusetts, including 7 in Western Mass. Clean Slate did issue a statement to Western Mass News regarding this lawsuit. They say, in part, "We strongly believe this claim is without merit, and we look forward to the opportunity to demonstrate in court that the care provided to our patients was outstanding and the lab tests that were ordered were medically necessary." Western Mass News is your election authority. Early voting now underway across the country, and in Springfield, officials say they're off to a good start. Western Mass News reporter Lindsay Kane live for us at City Hall with more on that. Lindsay?
Chris, this is one of the many early voting locations in Springfield. People were coming in and out of here all day to cast their ballots. With nearly 30 million voters already hitting the polls across the U.S., officials say they're looking at record-breaking turnout for early voting. The election commissioner for the city of Springfield tells Western Mass News that today they've seen over 400 voters at City Hall. And over at Greenleaf Community Center, there was a line of 100 people this morning. She says there are normally no wait times at City Hall, but other locations can get backed up.
If you live out in the Greenleaf area, out towards 16 acres, I would say go after, give it an hour before you go in from their opening time, because they tend to get lines. People expect the wait, so they've been bringing in lawn chairs and they're just making the best of it and enjoying the weather because it's nice out.
She says now is the time to fix a change of address or any administrative issues that need to be resolved. Now you can register and vote on the same day from now until Saturday at 8 p.m. Live in Springfield, Lindsay Kane, Western Mass News.
Lindsay, thanks for that live report. And we are just 2 weeks away from election night. Our very own Dave Madsen will be back hosting our special digital coverage. It kicks off at 8 p.m. on November 3rd, so make sure you follow us on Facebook and download our free Western Mass News streaming app so you don't miss a minute of the election action. Coming up next here on Western Mass News, we're digging deeper into the Debate Commission's new rules for the final presidential showdown. And a mom is now raising awareness about a rare disease that changed her family's lives forever. We have those exclusive details straight ahead. Janet?
And tomorrow morning, a cloudy start, which is unfortunate because the peak of the Orionid meteor shower is tonight. Unfortunately, these clouds sticking around for a while. Your forecast next.